Welcome back to FFB Amigos, and today we're talking about Everton v Chelsea at Goodison Park. The winning streak for Chelsea is over. Doesn't mean the title race is over for them. Although those of you that think that Chelsea is in a title race, I still haven't committed to that. Like I said, I will do so later in the year after the Manchester City game. I will determine that. And today's a little bit of an indicator where Chelsea is not in this perfect form. We struggle to break down, and we take 1 point from Goodison Park today. It was an interesting match in that it was the kind of game that Chelsea lately has been able to break down teams that play defensive football. Although Everton did play defensive football, it wasn't with the lowest block. That'd be something that we're going to go over. So let's just go over some key moments in the game. For the first 10 minutes, the game started very slow. There was only 2 Chelsea shots on target, really weak. Palmer missed a chance, and Neto's attempt goes straight at the keeper. They were really good opportunities, so that was a little surprising. In all honesty, Palmer did not have a good match. So the question is, he doesn't show up for big games. Well, I don't know. This is not a big game, right? And the man is allowed to not have a good game. Very rarely imprecise. Not for no. It's not like he didn't try. He tried really hard. He fought the whole game. He was trying to dribble and face players. The spaces were very tight, and he wasn't able to do it. Um, and then at the 20th minute, 20 minutes gone by, it still remains pretty slow, and a lot of fouls. That's why Everton ends up with 4 yellow cards versus Chelsea 1. But they were, stopping the game a lot, interrupting the game a lot with not letting us play. But I made a note here on minute 20 that even though their block is not low from the get-go, and you would see the coach actually demanding that they press. So they had very clear triggers and were very organized. It's not in vain that Everton actually, I believe, has 5, no, it'd be 6 clean sheets in 7 games, or 5 and 6, something like that. And in the Premier League, that's a very tough ordeal, and very disciplinarian coach that they have in Sean Dyche. So it was very hard to break them down. But they would have, I would say, a mid block, and even press Chelsea depending on what the triggers were and who was trying to play out. But we're very quick and organized to revert back to the line of 5 and the line of 4 in front of it, and really stopped us from playing. Really killed our wings. And like I said, in minute 25, you can hear them on TV, man, through the cameras. Dyche very aggressively demanding that their team press. Obviously, not a high press like Chelsea you would see in Chelsea, but certainly press the back line of Chelsea when they're trying to play out. Minute 30, Enzo makes a great pass and sets up Jackson, but he got a shot in a tough angle, which Jackson, that's another player that today did not have a great match, to be honest. What I do like about him, even in the matches he's not doing amazing, his runs. And I sometimes feel his teammates fail to find him, especially with the long balls. He's always doing those runs and working the defenders and working the channels in behind. At that point, in the first half, I'm thinking, Everton's having actually a great match, because it's proving very, very difficult for Chelsea to play. Yes, we get some shots on target, and when we do, we're really poor. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference with these games, guys, is that, when you get one sniff and you put it in the back of the net, now the game changes. Now you open them up. Now they have to come look for a goal. And we were unable to do that early. But I'm already seeing that in the first half. I'm starting, everybody. I think Sancho's another player that didn't have a good game today. He again, not for lack of trying. In any case, he's the right type of player for this game, but he really couldn't find the way. And so at this time in halftime, I'm thinking, okay, I miss this Maresca that we saw at the beginning of the season, that would have the cojones to make changes at the beginning of the second half, early in the half, which I always thought makes sense, because if you really identify something and want to change something, you'll give those players enough time to come into the game. In any case, minute 49, Harrison, I wonder what his play rating is going to be from Everton, because, man, he missed the chance that he should have scored. In all honesty, this game, of course, Chelsea does better on shots, better possessions, but it's the kind of game that easily Everton could have won. They had a couple of opportunities. Sancho did great to block 2 shots, at least one straight at him, which is a miss that we'll discuss now. But it's the kind of game that and as Chelsea fans, we know when you're playing defensively well, and it may not look like that to those who don't understand defending, that you're actually in a position to win while you're defending because you know that in one strong counter and one mistake that Chelsea are prone to in the back, especially with changes in the back, they could have won this game. Um, in any case, he misses this clear opportunity, and I see Chelsea struggling defensively. Obviously, I don't think we did a terrible job. I do think Malagusto got a little bit eaten up on the side, on the left-hand side, but that's sort of to be expected. I think that could have been approached differently, but we'll discuss. I don't think Maresca played his cards well today. So now we're in the 60th minute. Actually, before that, in the 59th minute, like I mentioned, Palmer's really not having a good game. His free kicks are poor. His crosses are poor. His last ball is not good. And I'm thinking he's got to bring in. I thought the game called for Joe Felix, and I'm annoyed that nothing was happening at this point. It's like 60th minute, brother. What are you doing, Maresca? What are you doing? You need to change something up. But I trust because he's gained all this trust with us. He's got a lot of cash in the bank when it comes to that. That he's like, okay, he made a tactical change. He spoke to the boys, and he's doing something on the field that doesn't require a change in players that we're gonna see. But if he did, it wasn't visible. If he said do more of the same, sure, I think that sometimes work, but I don't think that was the game for this. I think it was proven. Minute 60, Enzo, a really, really, really weak shot on target. He should have done better, Enzo Fernandez. But he's been contributing in midfield. He's organizing the play, so he didn't have a bad game. It's just that when the time came for that shot, he didn't do very well. Again, minute 70, they're starting again to stagnate. The whole game was really, there were times where Chelsea did have opportunities to control, but a lot where we sort of stagnated quite a bit. And now I'm just desperate. Now I'm angry. I'm like, why the F are you not making changes at all, Maresca? Something's got to give. And I was I was watching the match with whatever, and he was desperate, also calling for subs. He wanted Nkunku in the game, and I don't mind. I don't think it was a bad idea, Nkunku, but Nkunku sorta is a receive the ball as a 10. And I think what we needed is more like Felix or what Sancho normally does, which is transition and play 1-2s. I think this game called for Felix, and I think it was a mistake not to bring him in because he would have carried the ball, which he does extraordinarily well. Like I told you guys, he reminds me 10% of the time only of Kaká, where he can pick up that ball near or around midfield and drive forward really well. And I think to break that midfield line, so you would have gotten in between. He would have done that transition from in front of the line of 4 in the midfield to Everton to the in-between lines really well, and then allow our 10s to become runners behind the ball, which again, I know he's been imprecise in finishing, but we would have broken down lines which we wanted to and created the space where I think our players could have done better. But in any case, minute 70, Everton gets ahead and does the right thing, and they do 3 substitutions. And now, I'm like yelling at the TV at this point, right? It's like, if they're making changes, so do we. And it happens. Minute 75, Jackson is taken out for Nkunku. Again, he didn't have a great match, but he's always doing the runs and having that kind of discipline. We couldn't find him, I think, is the reality. This is where it's kind of unfair for a player like that when the crosses are not coming in precise. They're not finding the long ball. They're not putting balls into the channel properly, which we were very imprecise. Then he suffers. He pays the price. And then some madness happens. We take off Pedro Neto. Why did he take off Pedro Neto? Again, I hope it's not one of these, he's too smart for his own boots, where it's like it's even smart. He believes it's smart to take off somebody that's doing really great because tactically he's going to do something that'll change the game. Didn't prove right this time. So I was annoyed to see that, but Madueke comes in. Both of which I believe are incredibly ineffective. And actually, Chelsea, again, that's my point. Minute 76 until minute 90, till the end of the match, we didn't find our feet, man. We didn't find our feet. Those changes, I think they weren't bad changes, but Madueke didn't find himself on the field. Neither did Nkunku. well, in the transition they couldn't find them. We couldn't make sense and connect the midfield to the front players, and that sometimes takes time to settle in a game. That especially I believe Everton sort of had under control given the circumstances. Yeah, they were under pressure, but they were comfortable with what was happening. And that puts us in a really bad spot because the game's over by the time those guys are starting to settle in. And I think that's what we saw. The changes were not effective. And that's kind of the note that I made all the way up until minute 85. And I think if you go by how players were playing, I'm speaking of the attacking side of things mostly, man, Palmer was the player to go, in the sense that he was being imprecise with his last ball. So, and certainly Sancho, both. They were affecting the game in that they were very talented players and they were doing their thing. But this is the one I want in the comments, guys. Do you think that in this game or any game, in the sort of the form that we know he has, is Palmer a player that can be or should be subbed? Because on the other side of things, you know that in any minute there'll be a pen, a free kick. He'll take out 3-4 players with his dribbling, and he can score that goal and win the match for you. So yeah, I mean, in form, Palmer and Sancho needed to be taken out. I don't know if I would have had the jingle balls to remove one of these, especially Palmer, but certainly I know I needed Felix on the field, and for that we could have even taken out one of the left backs, settle in with a double pivot of a line of 3, line of 2 with Enzo Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, which Caicedo is always, brother. Well, this guy's an animal, man. So what a game! Great recoveries, fighting in the midfield. I think he stopped a lot of the counters. He took the ball back and drove forward. He was just missing that point, and I think that's what we lose when Fernandez plays further up. Somebody next to, and people were criticizing Malagusto also, like we could rise up to the 10 position. But I mean, he's on the wrong side of the field too, so I think it's a big demand to put on him. But in any case, yeah, I think that's what needed to ideally should have happened, and at least one of those needed to be taken out, and I think the wrong players were put in. But who the hell am I, right? I'm not Enzo Maresca, and obviously I am fairly confident he's smarter than me, and he's watching the boys play during the week. And there's always a human side of things that we don't know why he's making those changes. But in any case, I'm happy. I'm happy. Let me know in the comments below, guys. How do you feel? Are you happy with the point? Those of you that are like Chelsea, this is a man at Chelsea, you're going to win the Premier League, that got too carried away. That's why I'm ignoring all of you fools. Might be a little dissatisfied with that. But let's see. And let's see what happens with Liverpool in the game they're about to play here. So when you guys are watching this video, the game is probably over, but I haven't watched it as of yet. In any case, it's been a good weekend, and I will make another video because I can't believe Aston Villa defeated City. I mean, I can believe it. I cannot believe that I cannot believe that I can believe it. What the hell is going on over there? And Pep took a different approach on the post-match, which was really interesting. He's like, what are you doing wrong? Sort of like, what can you change? Like, I got to back my players. So I think he probably went tough on them as they were, screwing up in a couple of games. But that really grows old really fast when you're beating up on your players to try to get them to react, and they don't. You got to revert to nice coach, happy coach, or empathetic coach, and that's kind of a tough transition after there's been that friction of being so demanding with the losses coming on top of you. And Haaland looked like a defeated man. Incredible. They don't skirt the responsibility, they assume it, but there's something going on in that club, and it's really dark. In any case, we're happy, we're taking advantage. They're still behind us quite a ways. We can do with this point. We're happy, we'll take it. Let's hope Liverpool drop points so we remained close to the leader of the Premier League. And as always, to the beloved players, thank you for the point. You did a great job. To the fans and subscribers, please like and subscribe. And every day I'm working hard to make better content for you, for me to get smarter at making the videos and at the content itself, observing our beloved Chelsea. And again, to the team, as always, come on you Blues.